I'm so excited to have all of you with me today. Are you guys all excited too? I see so many friends here, and it looks like I have some new friends also. We're going to talk tonight about the money cure, and I'm going to share with all of you some things that I've learned over time about money, and it's going to be a very different perspective. And Aaron, if you could highlight me, please, on the mega screen here. If you could highlight me, that would be super perfect. Instead of it looks like my beautiful wife is highlighted. Everybody say hi to my beautiful wife, Jennifer, in the chat bar. Yeah, you can wave. You can wave. What's up? And what I learned about money. So this is not going to be probably one of those traditional things like stock and bonds and all this other stuff that you've probably experienced before. We're going to come from a totally different perspective on money. There I am. Boom. Okay. We're going to come from a totally different perspective on money for all of you. Now, it looks like everybody's on camera, which I'm super thankful. But if it's okay with you, we're going to stay on camera together. We're going to stay, I'm going to talk with you, not at you, which means if someone joined us and you're just in the darkness, if it's okay, we're going to kindly just, and tell me in the chat bar, is it okay if someone else is not on camera, but we are, if we just we'll just move them out of the way? Is that okay? Tell me in the chat bar, because I want to make sure, like, we got to be able to see each other here, see each other. Now we have some workbook that we posted in some different areas and Food Dog and all these different areas. But if you don't have the workbook, don't worry about it. Just have a pen and paper. Just have a pen and paper, okay? Let me open up my screen here and show you a little bit of things that we're gonna go through today. I'll set a nice clear agenda. And I know I have so many smart people on here. I see a lot of you here, and I'm so thankful that you're here for this. This is how to go vertical with your wealth. And there's some real fundamental understandings here that can hold you back from going vertical. But let's make a few agreements, okay? Can we make a few agreements? And most of you look like you know where the chat bar is. So make sure you're talking to me in the chat bar. I mean, let's face it, this is almost like the new world here, right? The way we communicate. Here's some of our agreements that we're going to do. 1, we already talked about, cameras on. 2, no individual recording. 3, and you tell me if it's okay in the chat bar, can we make sure we respect each other? Okay, let's do that. I think the world needs a little bit more mutual respect. Number 4, we'll support each other. There is so many different people here. And guess what? I don't care if you're the wealthiest in the world. I don't care if you're Jeff Bezos or you're someone who they say is like scratching nickels together. It's okay. We're all going to support each other today. It's a judgment-free zone. I always say be curious first and judgmental second, okay? Curious first, judgmental second. We're not going to talk about any politics. If that's all right, that's a good way to suck the energy life out of you, and definitely a way to suck wealth out of your soul. But we're not going to go into no politics stuff. Whatever you believe, good for you. I'm glad you believe it, okay? No self-promotion. Every now and then I get a spammer in here. They're like, let me sell you my cream that's going to cure all things. So let's keep your special creams and things out of this, and later reach out and find people on social media. Let's make sure we play full out, take notes, and let's participate in the chat bar, okay? It's going to be so much more fun if we're communicating through the chat bar. The one thing we haven't really figured out online is like, how could we all be unmuted and communicate together without having it sound like chaos? And then the last part, which you know, if you're in my world in any way at all, if you spend time tonight and you don't take any action, you'll get no results. You'll get no results. It will all stay the same. Now, here's a little bit about the challenges that we have with money, and feel free to add your own challenges. And let's take, if we could, just for tonight, and this is going to make so much sense to all of you. Let's take the emotion of money and what you think it is or what it could be, and let's just tuck it aside for a little bit. Let's just tuck it aside. It's going to make so much sense when we get to a point, because a lot of people are feeling this, that money is really scarce, right? Some people are feeling like money's scarce, right? Like it just seems like it's not everywhere. And then we also have this, we have to work really hard. We got to work real hard for it, okay? You got to really work hard. And then the next thing is, we think we have to, it takes endless amounts of time. I mean, lots of time to make money, because maybe we're trading dollars for hours or something, right? And wait a minute, there's more to life than just money. Somebody told me that one time. They said, you know what, Mike? There's more to life than money. And I said, perfectly well said, from a broke ass individual. I said, but let me explain to you what money can do for some people. It could feed the homeless. It could solve problems with bad water. It could create some shelter. I get what you're trying to say, just I'm not sure your intent behind that. And then what about this one? Okay, let's talk about the rich. The rich keep getting richer while the others get poorer. These aren't new terms to you. I just want to maybe bring it together, and maybe throughout the training tonight, point a spotlight on how maybe one word, one thought, one past thing might be what's exactly affecting all of you from having every single thing you want, right? Or what about this? It always feels like we could just use just a bit more than we have. I just want a bit more, right? I just want a little bit more. But you don't know how to do it. And you think that what's holding you back is, you think it's like, well, I don't have the knowledge, or I don't have the job, or they're not paying, or COVID did this to me, and this person did that, and you don't understand my story, Mike. Maybe that's true. Maybe I don't understand your story, or maybe your story is the exact thing. How many of you have read, and I use this example a lot, how many of you ever heard or read of the book Think and Grow Rich? Have you? Type it in the chat bar. You have? It's such an amazing book, isn't it? When I go to these big events where I'm speaking, and the most I've ever spoke to is like 1,000 people, but sometimes you see an event with 8,000 people and they say, who read Think and Grow Rich? And everybody's like, me. You see this badge of honor? I read the big ass book. And I look in the room and I'm go, people just aren't rich. Maybe it's the wrong book. Maybe it's the wrong book. Did you ever think of that? If the book was so amazing, why is everybody, now please understand, I'm not discrediting the value of the book. I'm just saying, if it was that easy, why wouldn't we all be swimming in the level of wealth that you want? Here's my big promise to you in this training. I want to unlock some of the secrets, okay? Some of the secrets to money, and show you that you hold the key to creating much more wealth than you have, and doing it at a much easier way. And this is not a business opportunity here, okay? This is not a business related training. I'm not going to talk about how to get money from direct mail, pay-per-click, and all this type of stuff, okay? I do that in the other part of my world, which is called CEO Warrior. So if you have a service company, and I know I got a lot of people here, if you want that stuff, you go there. What I'm saying is, this is one of the missing pieces. And some of you that are new here, or maybe somebody invited you to come on, you're like, well, who the heck is this guy? And like, what even gives him like the right to talk about money? Like, how come you? And here's what I want to tell you. A lot of people, they call me Hanchi. And I'll tell you what Hanchi is. Hanchi is a form of martial arts instructor. Anybody do martial arts? Type in the chat bar. Type in the chat bar. Maybe type in the word dojo in the chat bar. And what I've started to learn was when I go back in time, and this is, I'm going to take you all on a little journey here. So those of you that are new, and maybe some of you that are not new, can maybe relate. This goes back in time before I understood money, before I understood it at all. Yes, just type in the chat bar, badass afro, please put that in the, that is what classifies as a kick-ass afro. I'm just saying, and I'm pretty sure I did not have a comb or a brush. That is my grandmother, who I love dearly, and this is my beautiful wife. And I would say we're probably maybe 15 or 16 years old there. And that's me in vocational school. All right. So I had no idea about money. At least I would tell you that my thoughts of money was very different once I learned about it. And guess what? This is what it looks like when you take a really big afro and you shove it inside a winter type cap, and because you're freezing outside. I remember this day like it's yesterday. This is the point, because I'm an electrician by trade. That's my original trade that I went to a vocational school. And yes, I probably look like a super derelict there of some kind. So any of you that are picking on your kids because they look like that, maybe you want to ask them, maybe they'll just grow into something different in their future. But how many of you have felt this way? Like you just didn't, you didn't have anything figured out when you were young. Like nobody really understood or was really sharing the concepts of money. I'm going to tell you, I did not have it all figured out either. This is my son. He's a lot bigger than that. He got a big old beard. He's about 6 foot something. And this is just magical day when my wife and I got married in this very old house, and I cut the cake with a samurai sword. You know, you think you start to figure it out when you're married, but what you start to figure out is this. You start to figure out that now you have bills and now you need to create money, but you don't know how to put it all together. You just don't know how to put all that wisdom together. And it was not always easy. And I want to set this baseline for you, because otherwise, why listen to me? Why listen to me, right? That's what it looks like, your hair, when you don't have an afro, because I'm not sure it will grow that big anymore, but you run your fingers through it because you're just trying to really figure stuff out. You're just trying to crunch the numbers. And look, I've trained a long time on my journey. I've done a lot of physical, mental, emotional training through my life. Whatever I couldn't solve on my own, I figured if I just beat it enough out of me, if I took enough pain, the weakness and trauma would disappear. Sometimes it doesn't disappear, not even with money. Sometimes the trauma just grows, and it grows deeper inside of you. Can you relate? Type in relate in the chat bar if you could relate. I also started to feel this. I needed to provide for my growing family. And I didn't want to just provide a little bit. I wanted to provide well. I didn't want to be someone who had to walk around the home and say, you know, the things like, do you think I own the electric company? I didn't want to say like, what do you think, I'm Daddy Warbucks? I didn't want to have to say those things. So knowing that my family was growing, and there's my kids when they were really young and training, and some of our magical pictures with me and my wife there, I knew on this journey that I also had this. I had a responsibility of teaching my family, okay? Teaching my family about money. Now, my son has his own online business. He's already an author of a book. Did you anybody ever read his book? Type in the chat bar if you read his book, or if you're ever looking to do online trainings with your teenage kids or combat training or martial arts. He is amazing. I went out there to assist him on video. He was demonstrating something and he just moves so efficiently. And there's my amazing daughter, and she's 18 and runs her own online yoga company. And she does corporate. She's got some corporate clients now, and maybe even some of her clients are on here. And the point about this is, as you learn tonight, I don't want you to keep this wisdom to yourself. I want you to do your best to impart it upon your family and your kids, okay? I want you to impart it on them, because if we could change this whole dynamic for everybody, we could solve a lot of things. So how did I put this in place, right? How did I put it in place, and what was the effects of it? And so the question for some of you is probably like, Mike, why didn't you, what you're going to teach us in a little bit, why didn't you share it sooner? Why didn't you tell me? Why didn't you just, well, you know, I don't think people were ready for it. I think they were ready to see this. They were ready to see me build a $32 million company. And those of you that might be new in my world, that was the company I owned. I sold it 4 years ago to a $40 billion company. And myself and my partner, we built it to 32 million in less than 10 years. We did $200 million over the 10-year period. We had 200 employees. Just 4 years ago, I had 200 employees, 165 trucks. And if you live in New Jersey, you probably know this company. What I want to let you know, what I'm going to talk about with you tonight is exactly the direct tool, correlation, and understanding to create this. And yes, marketing will create things, operational system, all the stuff I teach in my CEO Warrior business will create this. But if you don't have this money side, I'm just going to tell you, sometimes it's a longer road, and sometimes that road just never shows up. And what I wanted to do was, I wanted to prove then that was good. That was fun. I created an empire. I wanted to show, could I do it again? Could I change a whole industry? So I built a movement. And that's what I'm talking about, the CEO Warrior movement. I built it. And there's a lot of warriors here. And we change lives faster than anybody. We're the top training and implementation organization on earth for what we do. 5 countries, 42 different industries. And I started to say, well, wait a minute. What about this? And I want you to write this down. Wealth builds upon wealth. Wealth builds upon wealth. I've been paid very well to speak. I've written now 17 books. And please, I don't want this to be one of those trainings you've come to and the guy's just vomiting like he just hugs and loves himself so much when he goes to sleep and it's all about him. I'm just saying it to make a point, I promise. If I don't show you when I get to what you have to feel, think about, and consider, then what will you go for? I hope you write 40 or 50 or 100 books. But we wrote 17, and then I started a podcast, and then people started paying me $25,000 an hour to speak. Now, yeah, that sounds great, like a lot of money. That's not the point. The point is, Mike, tell me, what are the pieces that created this? What are the pieces that created this? And this also brings to me why you see me doing all this stuff this year, because I made a decision to go on a new movement, a new mission, okay? A new mission. And I'm going to share that with you so you know why I invited you here and why you were brave enough to come, or at least felt compelled to come, and it cost you nothing to come here, is this. We created this new company called Food Dog Group. So if you want to go to fooddoggroup.com, and my team will put it in the chat bar, or there's two different Facebook groups. And who's on, let's do a little poll. Who's on Telegram right now? Type in me or type in sad face. Who's on Telegram? If you're on Telegram, if you're not yet, do me a favor, get on there and tag me, and I'll put you in a channel where I share all kinds of stuff all the time. I'm sharing. And this year we created, we just finished, graduation was last night. I'm still buzzing from it. I don't know if anybody who went through the training is on here because I can't see all of you, but we just finished the Seekers of Power training. Jason Kirby says also it was 5 weeks, 2 nights a week live on creating power at a whole nother level. And then we have this new training I'll share with you guys, a whole bunch of more free training called One Life. So Mike, I don't even know what this term food dog is. And Aaron on my team, he's going to, he'll keep posting the link so you guys can get super connected. But let me tell you what food dog is. Cause some people are like, what are you thought like, is that like lo mein or something? Like, what is this food dog thing? Is that like a lion? Well, here's exactly what it is. It's a traditional Chinese guardians who stand, right? They stand guard in important places. Have you been in the presence of these before at something? They're massive, they're huge, they're normally stone, and there's normally a male, okay, with a ball representing the world, and there's normally a female with a cub that's representing nurture. And how this whole thing came about, this whole name Food Dog, was myself and Aaron and my wife. We were together. We were eating at this restaurant called Trey. I don't know if you ever go down the Jersey Shore area. We were eating and we were talking about, and it's almost like it was just showing up for us. And we were like, Food Dog, Food Dog. That's exactly what this is. It's going to have that level of power. So what is it? Here's what it is, just so you know, so you can be aligned with me. And if at any point on this training, you're like, what? This doesn't make sense, then just bounce off. It's okay. You're not forced to stay here. Here's our soul's purpose. Food Dog is transforming humanity. That's it. That is our key life force. Somebody's got to do it. It might as well be us. And you guys tell me in the chat bar, do you think humanity needs a little bit of transforming? What do you think? I think it does. I think it does. And we're going to do it. Okay. And we're not going to stop until it's done. So I'm glad you're a part of this. One small little step to do it is to let's understand the components of wealth. Now, I want you to draw with me, everybody. I want you to draw with me. Okay, so grab your pen and paper, draw these little rectangles with an arrow between it. Now we're going to get into the meat of the bones, because now you know who I am, you know who Food Dog is, and you know what we're going to do with the world. Okay, so we're all aligned right now. And the other side important note, you know that I have an afro. Okay, you knew that I had one. That's very important somewhere. It's probably just because my wife somewhere fell in love with that somehow. Not really sure. Not really sure. Okay, so here's the components of this. First, you have you, right? This is you today, right? You. And then you have all these vehicles of wealth, right? So this is wealth vehicle. Now, when we say wealth, vehicles, okay, let's just talk about that. Could be cash, credit card, it could be anything. Very key point coming now, everybody. Are you ready for this? Very key point. Judy, super nice to see you. Very key point. Your relationship between you and vehicles of wealth. And you're going to see how many vehicles of wealth there is. Just think of your relationship quickly right now. Your relationship with the money inside your wallet or not the money. Your relationship with your checkbook. What do you say when you pull out a credit card? We're going to dig into this relationship part, and it's going to be, I hope, and at any time a light bulb starts popping like, oh, I got a pretty crappy relationship with money, then maybe it's the point we could fix that tonight, right now, together. If you look at this, right, and without getting too foo-foo-y and crazy about it, let's just say this: money is a frequency. right? It's a frequency. I don't think this may not be new to many of you, that nothing is actually sitting still. You know that, right? Like if we take a magnifying glass and we look at it, a rock is moving. There's things moving and everything. There's things moving. Well, if it's moving, then there's a frequency to it, right? There's a rhythm to this. So I wonder if everything has a frequency, then maybe the bank, the checking, every part of this with wealth, cash, gold, silver, whatever, all has this frequency. The question is, do you have this resistance? Do you have resistance to this? I mean, just think of the language that some of you might be using. What about the language for your paycheck? If you get a paycheck, are you like, this is horrible, this is bad, this is not enough, this is a deficit? And do you think that improves it or makes it more resistance? You tell me in the chat bar, what do you think it does? And don't worry about spelling, because I'll probably spell something wrong. So just put the word the best you can in there. It's going to create more resistance. Our goal today is to have a new understanding around this and create this harmony. What if you could create some harmony around this whole thing here? But in order for us, and let me stop and pause 1 second here. Let me take one breath a minute and tell me so far what we went to and where we're at right now. What is resonating for you? Like what's popping out? What is like making you just think a little different right now? Go ahead, talk to me in the chat bar here. Talk to me. Don't worry, I'm patient, everybody. There you go. Positive mindset. Oh, interesting. So mindset, or maybe mind growth, right? Because we don't want anything set. It's one of those, it's another one of those things, Adam, like think and grow rich, right? It's like, well, I don't know. Maybe it's think and do rich. Maybe thinking alone's not enough, right? Mindset is something that's still, it's not all about money. Okay. Thinking a different way. Okay. Let's keep going. Now it's time to peel back the onion. It's time to peel back the onion. So let's look at, and I want you to work with me here. Okay. I want you to work with me here. And my mom is on here. So mom, if I use your name, it doesn't mean you said this. And everybody type in the chat bar, hi mom, just say hi mom. And I love my mom, but if I use the term mom, it's as an example for your mom, not mine. I'm not saying she said this, but maybe she didn't, I don't remember. She'll tell me. Okay. So if we look at your mom and or somebody when you were young, did they say this? Don't pick up money. I'm pretty sure my mom didn't say that. She's like, pick that stuff up, pick it up. Okay. Don't walk by. But a lot of people say don't pick up money because it's what? What is it? It's dirty. Now, let me ask you a question here. If you've been programmed in your life, and let's call it, to me, that's trauma. That's resistance. Okay? Because you were told, don't pick it up. It's dirty. Wash your hands. Don't lick your fingers. Don't put them near your mouth. No, it's dirty. It's dirty. Do you see how quick this? What about this one? Maybe your dad said making money is very hard. And I bet in some of your generational times where your grandfather or maybe your father, maybe they worked on a farm, or maybe they worked in a coal mine, or maybe they worked through the Depression. They were like, money is hard to come by and you got to work hard to get it. Anybody have a grandfather or somebody like that maybe? What do you think that did? Do you think that created a frequency or a resistance for you? You tell me, right? Doesn't grow on trees, Ted, right? Right? And if you look at this now, what about this? What about teachers? Now, don't just write mine down. I want you to start going, holy crap. What about this one? You're not a numbers person. I'm not a numbers person. I'm bad. Math is hard. Math is hard. I don't like numbers. Oh, okay. Well, wait a minute, everybody. Wealth and money, the last I checked, you added up with numbers. So you've been building all of these cycles of what about this? We said this before. Money isn't everything. It even goes deeper than that. How many of you, and I'm just scratching the surface on some of the basic ones. What about this? What about you lost a lot of money or someone took money from you, right? Your friend beat you out of money. You had a divorce and you lost money. You had a car accident and you got sued and lost money. This is very important for you to hear this because I've been through all of these different things, not divorce. I've been through the lawsuits over and over and over again. I'm just finishing another one. You know why? Because when you have money, people like to come and just see if they could tap the well a little bit. But you know what? I don't create trauma from it. I create a new understanding, a new definition. I remember when I had to pay out the first lawsuit I lost years ago, $1 million. Oh, can you imagine waking up today knowing you got to pay $1 million for something you did not do, but they told you, I know you didn't do it, but I have to get paid from somebody. I'm like, oh, looks like we're the lucky ones. But I didn't allow it to create trauma, okay? I allowed it to create a greater frequency. I said, okay, well, we have a choice here. We could create trauma and die. I'm giving you my words now for them. We can just bury ourselves and die, or we can just magnetize and create so much money. And I think the next year we grew by $6.5 million. I would have never grown by that if I stayed in the hole of trauma, okay? If I stayed in the hole shackled to this. And at the bottom here is you. It's you. Now there's good news and there's bad news. Which one would you like? Type in the chat bar. You want the good news or you want the bad news? Why don't we start with the good? Everybody's like, oh, give me the good first, man. You're killing me here. You're killing me, Mike. Okay. I'm going to give you the bad news first because you all wanted the good news. All right. The bad news is this. All right. You had it. It's done. You had these trauma. You had these things. You say these things about money. It's okay. Here's the really good news. You know different now. You know better now. And we can start right now to rewind and create a new relationship. We can create a brand new relationship. And for those of you that don't know, this is another version of our Foo Dog logo, another version right there. So what I want you to do for me, can we work together a little bit? Is it okay? Tell me in the chat bar. Can we get to work a little bit? Is that all right? Yeah? All right, let's get to work, Gary. So here's what I want you to do. I'm going to write something down. Now, I know you probably already started to switch your thinking, but I want you to write the word and then give me the gut response. Go to your gut, what your gut says about this thing. Don't worry if it's not what you want, because then I'm going to say, reverse your gut. Let's create a new definition for this. Let's look at this one here. How about cash? What's your first gut response? Cash. Hard to come by, useless, dirty. Uncle Sam wants all of it. Cash is king. Okay, cash is king. I wonder why, Christine, I wonder why cash isn't queen. Why is it the king? That's maybe cash is queen and king. Okay, cash is pretty. Never have enough. Okay, there's never enough of it. So I'm never satisfied. So you know what? Don't give them any more. They're never satisfied. Don't forget about giving them more. You're never going to scratch that itch. It's always going to itch, right? It's losable. Oh, it's lovable. All right. What about this one? Ready? Checks. Checks in your checkbook. What do you think about that? Oh, not enough in there. I don't like pulling money out of the pain. Ted says pain. Outdated. Love depositing them. You could tell Christina, like she just graduated from Secrets of Power training. She just creates everything. Okay, checks in the mail. Don't use them, right? Dangerous. All right, people could steal them. People are going to get them. All right, let's try another one. What about bank statements? Here we go, bank statements. What do you think about that one? Sad. Okay, thank you for your honesty. What statements? Okay, maybe the digital ones. Depressing, confusing, reconcile, must check, not enough. All right, so it looks like almost unanimously, we have some trauma around this. We have some reinforced trauma. What about this? Change. You know, like coins. What do you think about, where did it all go anyway? Where did they all go that nobody wants to take coins? Like, is somebody burying it in their backyard or something? Like, what happened to the world with all the coins? So we got hate them, parking meters, coffee, nightstand, tedious, take up space, big jar. Okay, right? And it's so interesting. We always had, when I was a kid, we always had a big, in our house, a big water jug. And we'd throw, and my dad always had damn coins. Now I'm trying to wonder where, like, why he always had all these coins all the time. I'm not sure about that. But he'd come home every day, and I'll have to ask mom about it. Like, why do you have all that change all the time? And you fill it up, and it never looks like a lot. But then all of a sudden, there's a lot of money in that, right? Let's do one more. Ready for this one? Credit cards. Credit cards. What do you think about that? What is your debt? Okay, hate them, dangerous, pain. Chris says rewards, caution, ouch. What else? Points, rip off. Like, it's so interesting. And if you only get this one thing, the new definition, when I just said credit card to myself, I said free money. You know why? I had to go in and buy a book for my daughter today on Amazon. She put it in the cart, and I went in and I grabbed my points, and it cost me nothing for the book. It cost me nothing. There's no pain. Whatever I put on the credit card, I paid it off anyway. So to me, credit cards are a vehicle of free wealth. But I get where you're coming from, because there's this other definition. And I remember, I think it was my son one time when he came home from school, he said, "Dad, you can't use credit cards. They're bad." And I said, "Who told you this? The 23-year-old teacher? She don't even understand the concept of a credit card, son. You can use it wrong and it can cause bad, but let's talk about how it can be very, very good. Let's talk about how it can be good." Now, if you just look at these couple things here, and I'm going to give you an amazing tool, and we're only going to scratch the surface a little bit here tonight, but I'm going to give you a vehicle so you could go deeper on this with yourself, okay? Let's look at this chart that we created here. And you could draw out the little version of the chart or take a picture of this for yourself if you want. And here's what the columns are going to be. So one is going to be the frequency column, right? The frequency. This is what's the energy and the feeling that you get from it, right? So what's the feeling that you get from this? That's what you were just practicing right there. The next thing is, what is the resistance, right? What is the resistance or the pressure, the additional pressure? So we know what the vehicle's feeling like. What is the pressure that comes beyond this, caused by this? And now we just have to do one thing. We have to harmonize this. How do we harmonize this and clean it up, right? Clean it so we can move it forward. So you could take this chart and you could start writing down cash, and you could write down checks, and you could write down bank statements, and you could write down credit cards, and you could write down maybe gold, and you could write down maybe jewelry, and you could write down maybe your house, and then maybe your car, and everything that has a monetary value can have a sense of wealth around it. My C8, yeah, right? And if we could start getting this, you tell me in the chat bar, if we create and harmonize our relationship here, and we create a brand new feeling around these vehicles, what will change in your ability to create, gain, magnetize in your own wealth? Tell me in the chat bar. Now, I know it's a new thing you're trying on, but I want you to hear it from me, someone who sold a $32 million business, okay? And someone who I think has done very, very well his entire life. And I'm not bragging, I'm sharing the understanding. At one time I harmonized, but I didn't know what I was doing. That's why I didn't share it like this ever before. Now, when I go back and I look at how my wife and I have been debt free, no mortgage since we're 28, and I'm level 50 now. That's a long time with no mortgage and many houses later. I'm not bragging. I'm telling you right here, right on this page here, this understanding is the difference for money flowing in versus the resistance of pushing it away. If you stay in a sense of bad talk, bad feelings, poverty feeling. Now, I am not telling you, I am not the guy that's going to tell you, you gotta be it to get it, or whatever the hell they say. You gotta live it to get it. You should go buy yourself like a Lamborghini and be one of those guys that sits there, you know, the cool guy, right? Sits on the hood. He's got the Starbucks coffee and he's like, check me out. And I'm like, I'm looking at you. I'm just not quite sure what I'm feeling here right now. You know these people, right? And the fact is, you know, some people are really impressed by it. Yeah, fake it till you make it. Well, I don't know that. How about this? How about we understand it and then we just receive it with no pain, no punishment, no guilt, no judgment? Wouldn't that feel good? Like that you could just receive it without all of those feelings? Let's talk about now, like, there's way more levels to wealth than this. This is one level. And I know that people right away, they want to say health is wealth. I don't think it's one thing. Okay. I think it's this. I think it's all things. I think it's all things. And I believe it universally works together. Now, you've probably have seen different models of this before. And yeah, we have the money and finance right here. But I believe if you take this concept of frequency and resistance and the thought of harmonizing it, what would it look like if we harmonized all of these things? Because you tell me, if you don't harmonize your partner, right? Your relationship and your love of yourself, love of someone else, do you think that that could possibly cause some resistance right here? What do you think in your money and finance? You tell me in the chat bar. You tell me. I don't want to tell you. Do you think if we have resistance there, maybe it's creating 100%? And if you look at all the aspects of this, you could go anywhere you want on this and show that this here, this out of alignment, this resistance that we have, this past understanding that we have is caused a whole lot of things here. And just think how far back it could go for all of you. I mean, did you ever hear anybody, we were famished, right? And then the locust, and then we were eating porridge. And how much of that resistance was gifted to you. Was anybody gifted any resistance as a kid? You're not going to eat all those things? Starving children all over the world, you know. Oh my God, guilt me into eating it, please. That's going to serve me. And when I grow up, that guilt will feel really good. You want me, you want to go to where the starving people are? Like, is that what you want to do? Oh, thank you for the guilt, parents. Thank you for the guilt, friends. No, that creates trauma. But here's the goal. Here's the main thing. Doesn't matter what age you are, doesn't matter at what point you are in time, you could change this relationship. Or you could reinforce the one that you have. You know what the one that they love to give you? It's this. They're only giving everybody $600. I get that may not be enough for you because you got $500 worth of shit you didn't need in your Amazon cart. And you got a $1,000 cell phone that you probably could live without. And you got $500 sneakers and a kick-ass watch and some $300 earbuds. I get the $600 may not work for everybody, but let's reinforce it and make it pain. And guess what? Let's co-support each other. We'll tell everyone else and we'll create a magnet of resistance. Do you know these parties? Have you joined any of them before? The conversation of the resistance party? I always say this. Why don't we have a different conversation and see how can we create a new relationship? You know what I want to hear? I want to hear someone who got the $600 and turned it into 60,000. That's what I want to hear. That's what I want the person to private message me on Facebook. I just got $600, Mike. Tell me how to make it into 600,000. I'm like, let's create a new relationship with money. Let's create a new understanding about all these aspects right here. That's how you change the world. You change the world not by giving $20 to someone who needs $20. It's by giving them $20 and teaching them how to double, triple, and compound that. Now that's how you remove suffering and all this stuff. Giving meals is great. Teaching them how to create an endless production of food, that to me sounds a whole lot smarter. Hey, what's up, Matt? Nice to see you, brother. Tell me what's sticking out for you, everybody. Type in the chat bar. I want to know what's sticking out for you, and then I'm going to give you some action items so that you have a blueprint to move forward with, something to start working on, to start changing this thing, to start shifting everything the way you think about money. The guy who did Kentucky Fried Chicken, how old was he when he, oh, no, not that guy. Wait, how old was the guy that created McDonald's? I just want to remember. What was his name? He was like 55 years old, right? 55. You know, here's Ray Kroc, right? Here's what I love. You know, there's some kid today, probably in the world, that's 10 or 12 years old. You see him on Shark Tank and different things that like just became a millionaire. They're 12. And you know what else? There's somebody in their late 90s or 100 who also has made millions of dollars too and just created something. The resistance of age alone has created one of the greatest resistance to wealth of all time. Why do you think we say level 50 versus 50 years old, right? That falls right into here. It falls into your creation. It falls into your energy, and it's going to bring everything forward for you. Can I give you some action items? Let's give you some, Kathy Ryan, what's up? If anybody's looking for just a badass health, someone who understands health and just, she's my secret weapon. If anybody wants to connect, let me know. She's my whole family's secret weapon. So if you're looking for anybody to get your health on this thing to the next level, she's really, really awesome. She's really awesome. So just hit me up, private message on Telegram, okay? All right, let's build a plan here. Let's build a plan, okay? One, we have to really, I love when that's like, see how abundance, it even comes out like big letters. Okay, the one thing is we have to, on these wealth vehicles, okay? let's really look at it. And the reason why I use wealth vehicle, and most people are like, oh, it's money, it's a credit card, it's a dollar, it's whatever. No, no. Everything is a wealth vehicle. Everything. This pen, this thing I'm using, this tablet, this, well, I added water to like old protein this morning. Does anybody else do that? It's just like leftover crumbs in there and stuff. Okay. That's wealth. Everything is a wealth vehicle. Once you start looking at it as that versus pain and the shackles, things are going to start to change. Okay. Number two, let's start to explore, okay, and explore and overcome the resistance. The resistance. I couldn't believe it. I'll give you my version of the story. My wife actually had this happen to her at a store. A woman dropped some money and she picked it up and went to give it to her. And she's like, oh no, that's dirty. And my wife was just like, okay, well, money comes to me. My wife has this thing. She says, I'll say it, but she could type in, money comes to me effortlessly and easily, something like that. She's just a money magnet. And that's, so she doesn't have that resistance to it, right? The resistance to it. Now, once you explore to overcome, I want you to start to create harmony. Harmony. Like this thing doesn't bite. You could hold the cash. It doesn't have fangs on it. Really hold it and sense the relationship between you and it. How does it really feel? Do you feel it and you're like, oh, it's garbage paper, it's this? Or do you feel it and you just feel it like it's starting to double, triple, 10 times itself, okay? The other thing I want you to do, because we're building more and more resources, and I know a lot of you are in there. We'll do a quick little poll here, is make sure you're in the Food Dog group, everybody, okay? Because what happens is this becomes a magnet of belief, okay? And a support system, okay? So make sure, who's in Food Dog, say yes, the group, the Facebook group. Who's not, say no. And who doesn't even know what the hell I'm talking about, just put like a question mark. Just joined. Thank you, James. Okay, question mark. All right, we're gonna put a link in there for you guys, and do me a favor, go in there, okay? It's a Facebook group. And because, is it hard to find like-minded people today? What do you guys think? Like, I think it is. What's up, Chris? It's hard to find like-minded people that you could talk about money and wealth, and that they're going to go, like, if you tell me you just like won $1,000, I'm like, oh my goodness, congratulations. This is great. How are we going to make that 1,000 into $1 million? This is amazing. I'm so glad to hear it. Other people are like, look at you, big shot, right? So get in there so you could be surrounded around like people who are feeling the same way and are supportive of you, okay? And then the other thing that I want to do is an action item, just because I'm sharing a whole bunch of stuff. I mentioned in the beginning, just get on Telegram, okay? We'll put the link in there, and just get on there, and I'll move you in. Just when you message me, just say, put me in, and I'll put you in that channel, okay? I'll put you in the channel so that you can see all the stuff. That's a little sloppy, but you guys will get it in the chat bar so you could see it, all right? Now, what I want to do is, before I give you some last minute value before you go, I want you to tell me what's your first action item you're going to do. I want you to commit that. Maybe not to me, to all of us. Is that okay? Type in the chat bar, what is your first commitment you're going to do? Okay. Manifest. Okay. Really good. Manifest. I'm just going to create it. How do you create it? You create a new relationship with it. I want you to write that down. No one tells you that. They're like, manifest it. I'm like, okay. I watched a video. They said, do this. Like, I don't know. You can hum all you want. If you don't have a good relationship and you have a negative resistance relationship, you could hum till you vibrate to the sky. That stuff is not. You must create that relationship with it where it's okay. It's fine. It's good. Okay. Overcome resistance. Yes. Great action items, everybody. Great. Overcome resistance. Yeah. And the way you'll do that is make yourself a reminder. You'll go back to this. You'll make a list. You'll put down the feeling. You'll say, the pressure. I don't have enough money. I'm not going to do it. Okay. Let's redefine that. Let's create harmonize around it, and let's watch what happens. And please telegram me, and like, it is going to happen faster than you think. I promise you. Somebody's going to hit me up tomorrow and be like, oh my goodness, I did this and I saved money. I made money. Share all those stories with me. I'm going to unshare the screen in a minute, but I do want to thank you for coming tonight for this training. It's amazing. I kept it right to about an hour. That's probably a record for me, but I actually have another training that I have to do tonight for about an hour and a half. So where we're going to do some breakthroughs with in my other company in CEO Warrior, we're going to do some breakthroughs for a whole bunch of phone warriors on that side. So I want to say thank you to you. And I want to thank you for whatever support and whatever change you'll do in yourself, because if you transform, or I should say, when you transform, you'll be part of transforming humanity too. Because when you create this money cure for you and you create abundance, I've been saying the same thing forever. All I want you to consider doing is, as this abundance starts coming in, everybody, and just tell me in the chat bar if you'd consider it, just maybe help somebody else out with it. Maybe just help someone else. And I love all these charities all around the world, and I think they're great. I just want you to look around your immediate world. I think there's a lot of people maybe in your immediate circle that you look in, and maybe they might need a little help. And as much as I'm a believer in helping, I'm also a believer in education and knowledge that helps them learn how to help themselves too. Tell me about what we covered tonight. How beneficial would it have been if you knew this 25 years ago? Tell me that in the chat bar. Like, what if you knew this 25 years ago? I mean, like, I didn't know it. I was putting pieces together. It's just, but the thing is, not that I wish I knew it then. We all know it right now. We all know it right now.